this morning, blackbird has spoken like the first bird. Praise for the singing, praise for the morning, praise for them springing fresh from the world. For those of you who don't know, probably everybody knows Paz, but his name is actually Pasquale Pascucci, but everybody calls him Paz. Thank goodness. So he'll be singing a few nice songs that we've chosen. So you'll hear me referring to we more than once. So I want to explain to you who we are. And my name's Diane Field, by the way, for those of you that don't know me. And we are a group called the Hospice Fraser Hope Lodge Courtyard Committee. And that might sound very officious, but it really isn't. And how Shilo fits into this, I'm just going to explain to you. So in 2007, we had a new lodge built in Hope, and I happened to be the director of the lodge at that time, so I was very, very involved. And what was happening was that they built the lodge, but they were not going to complete any gardens. So the lodge is built kind of in a circle, and there was a center area called the Courtyard, and it was gravel. And that was not very acceptable. So I asked them if I could raise $10,000, could I do what I want in there? And they said sure, and gave me a pat on the head and figured that it would never happen. So someone up above sent Claudia Kojakar to me not very long after that, and she said to me, I'm looking for a project. Do you have a project? And I said, man, do I have a project. So what happened was that we decided to raise some funds and build a courtyard. So we needed a sponsor. If we were going to ask people for money, we had to have a way to give them a receipt. So I went to the hospice board and to a meeting. I had sat on the hospice board for several years, and I went there and I asked them if they would be our sponsor and explained what it was that we wanted to do and everything. And Shilo was the treasurer for the hospice board. So he was sitting there and listening to this little chat, and he turned to me and he said, I want to be part of that committee. And we really didn't have a committee yet, but I guess I said we have to form a committee. I didn't know what we were going to do. But anyway, he said, I want to be part of that committee. And Wes Winger was also sitting there, a hospice board member, and he said to me, I also want to be part of that committee. So right away, people could see the benefits of what we were trying to do, and all of a sudden, I had a committee. So it was really, really wonderful. And we did a huge campaign, and we raised over $75,000 in this community. And we built an inner courtyard and an outer courtyard, and we fixed up the roundabout, and we irrigated the place, and we did all kinds of things. And Shilo was a very big part of that. So he was part of our committee, and so that's why I say we, and we are the ones with Bonnie that have wanted to put this on today. So I hope you get the connections. And so when the project was complete, we continue to maintain it. So we have little work parties to maintain and clean up and that sort of stuff. But we also became very, very close as a group, kind of evolved into a little bit of a family. We're all very, very special to each other. And we have parties. Those are our meetings, parties. And one of the ones that Shilo always just loved was our Christmas party. because at our Christmas party, we would get into the Christmas thing, goodies and drinks, I guess, and we would start singing carols. And we would sing carols and sing carols and sing carols, and we just had so much fun. And the other part that he just loved was the sweets. Now that man had a sweet tooth. We used to send him home with plates of sweets. I don't know, and he was such a tall, skinny drink of water, I don't know. No fat on him. So anyway, that's why we're having some sweets today, is in memory of Shilo also. And he would always send a very special thank you note after our dinners. And he would relate that to us being kind of a family to him. Mr. Bonnie, who was one of his favorite people, is just going to come up and give a bit of background. And her name is Bonnie Sack, and she's from Enderby. And we've adopted her into our Courtyard family here in Hope.
Thank you, dear.
Okay.
Hi, everybody. I'm Shilo's eldest sister and last remaining triple. Anyway, I'll give you a background of who he was before Hope. He was born in 1940 in a small town called Arborfield in Saskatchewan. And then he started working. We moved to Powell River, or Westview, if anybody knows that, from Edmonton in 1947. Shilo started working when he was 11 years old, loading and unloading barges and boats for extra money. He was very tall, and he wanted to make money, and they let him work. He drove a car at 11 because nobody knew how old he was. We were a tightly knit family because we had no close relatives there, and we did everything together. We took part in all the music festivals, all the sports events, and our parents were very supportive of all our endeavors. We all attended elementary and high school in Westview and Powell River, and then off to Vancouver for extended educations. Shilo made lifelong friends while being raised in Powell River. Many of them he has joined now. On his high school reunions, he danced until he dropped. He said it was like running a marathon because he was the only guy that would dance. Anyway, he and my sister Regan, who is now gone also, they both ran marathons for charities all the time. He was a cherished son, a cherished brother, cherished uncle and friend. He and his sister made their last journey together. So glad that they were together. He left this world a better place and doing all the good things he did. Gone but never forgotten.
That was nice.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. As you know, we're here to remember Shilo, our dear friend Shilo. This was a man of great intelligence, wit, and a desire to make things better. Many of you may not know that approximately in 1995-1996, the Fraser Canyon Hospice Society came into being. And Shilo was one of the initial members of the Hospice Society and was the treasurer on the board for many years. He was a stickler for making sure that every penny was accounted for. And we learned that in Courtyard too. And because he was our treasurer. And to this day, you better be sure you have a receipt if you want to be compensated for any purchases for the society. I think Pat Bessie has something to do with that too. Eventually, Shilo became involved with the Courtyard project, and this small group of caring people had many a wonderful meeting to plan the infrastructure. Shilo was dedicated to doing research and price comparisons, and as the project came to completion, he still continued his dedication to watering the plants in the rest area and the rotary deck. He loved to sing. He loved politics, and he loved his friends. Indeed, we are all very blessed to have had Shilo in our lives, and I will never forget that wonderful smile. So thank you, Barb. That was really, really nice.
My husband Wes and I first met Shilo through the Hope Hospice, and then got to know him better when we all joined forces with the Fraser Lodge Courtyard Committee. Though Shilo was a very private person, his face always lit up when we would get together, whether to work on a project or just get together for a potluck. With all his health issues that he faced, he always appreciated surrounding himself with people with whom he could laugh and enjoy himself. We have so many memories of Shilo, from his love of his precious dog Sadie, to all the wonderful salads that he would make, to his sweet tooth. At one of our potlucks, Shilo was supposed to be limiting his sugar intake, so when it came for time for dessert, he only put a small amount of fruit in his bowl. But if you look closely, underneath that fruit was one of the chocolate cookies. The last few weeks of Shilo's life were spent in the Fraser Canyon Hospital here in Hope, with his sister Bonnie and close friends by his side. I would just like to say that there is nowhere else that Shilo would have received such great care from staff. From the doctors and nurses, kitchen, housekeeping, and security staff, Shilo was cared for by loving and compassionate hands and hearts. In Shilo's apartment, he had a plaque that read, "Good friends are hard to find, harder to leave, impossible to forget." Shilo, we know that you are up there running marathons with Sadie, but you are very missed down here.
I got the pleasure of meeting Shilo when Shilo was basically the guy in charge at the toll booths. So that was 1986. I worked with him till about 1988, and I've known him since then. He was the guy up at the toll booth. He was a stickler. You couldn't be out on your cash. You had to do things the proper way, and he was very proper in that regard. With government, he was very proper. It had to be done a certain way, and it was done a certain way because Shilo was there overseeing it all. He was very gentle with people, but he was exacting and demanding in a certain way also. And to work with him, you learned, because I was so much younger than him, well, not that much younger, but younger than, you learned from him very quickly that he was a nice person, and his concern was that the job was being done correctly. And he was a pleasure to work with. He classed the place up, and just knowing Shilo was inspiring. So he became a friend because we'd known each other for so long. Not really super close, but when I'd see him in town, it was, "Hey Shilo, how's it going?" And we'd strike up a 5-minute conversation and then be on our merry ways. I know that he was happy to be here in Hope. It kind of draws you in this town. And it drew me in and drew him in, and it's sad that he's gone. I didn't know he'd gone until I saw the post on Facebook.
Hi, my name is Jill Sakamoto. I am here with my 2 sons, Ronan and Seth, my dad, and my stepmother, Anne. I'm gonna hold it together. I can do this. Uncle was always full of laughter. He kidded with us when we were kids. He always was either pulling your hair or pinching your arm or, you know, getting you going all the time. I also remember him to be very kind, caring. We did come here and go fishing, so we would stop by and see Uncle at his house, or he would come and meet us for lunch. So he did spend time with my kids as well, and we've always enjoyed his company. It was sad to hear that he was gone, and I feel for my mom, because she's a bit of an orphan now, except for us. But he lives on within all of us, and we carry him with us, and I carry him in my heart. Thank you.
Glad you could come. My name's Claudia Kojagar. and I'm part of the we, us group. So I find it sometimes easier when I'm talking to those that have left to write them a letter. So that's what I did the night before last. Actually, last night, August the 2nd, 2016, here in Hope. Dear Shilo, I'm sitting in my living room tonight thinking about you. Oh, how I miss you. What a wonderful friend you were to Ron and me. We met you in 2007 when we formed the Courtyard Project group. That group soon became our Hope family, for which I will be forever thankful. Working on that special project brought us Vic and Diane Field, Wes and Kathy Winger, Pat Bessie, Barbara Scherers, you, Shilo, Ron and me, so close together. Meetings and work parties were followed by potlucks. As Diane told you, your salads were yummy, and we all knew who would have seconds on desserts. When Ron grew ill, you were such a kind and caring companion to him. He loved your visits when I was out of town working. The countless hours you spent with him at the hospital while he had his frequent blood transfusions, 4 to 8 hours at a stretch, were a real gift. He told me how much it helped having you there with him to pass the time, and how you two talked about anything and everything, sharing jokes and serious stuff too. And our girls, Poppy and Pip, that's my Jack Russells, how they adored you and loved to see you come. You were a real dog person. After your darling Sadie died, you would stop by for a visit and a furry fix. You encouraged their raucous behavior, as those of you that know Jack Russells understand, and their antics, and you enjoyed them so much. Barb was sitting at the end and commented how there were people, you and Ron, missing from the table. We miss you, my friend. You always saw the good side of situations. One good thing that has come out of this sad time has been our growing close to your dear sister Bonnie. She is now part of our family, and I know you're very happy about that. I see you in her eyes and mouth, enjoy her wit, and admire her strength. You two have much in common. She even includes cute little emoticons, I think I said that right, in her emails, just like you did. Or did you learn that from her? As we gather on the banks of the Fraser, under the cedars, I will remember all of the happy times we've shared. I will be forever grateful for your friendship. Until we meet again, cheers and love, Claudia.
There was a secret chord that David played and it pleased the Lord. But you don't really care for music, do you? Well, it goes like this: the fourth, the fifth, the minor fall, the major lift, the baffled king composing hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. Your faith was strong that you needed proof. You saw her bathing on the roof. Her beauty and the moonlight overthrew you. She tied you to her kitchen chair. She broke your throne and she cut your hair. And from your lips she drew the hallelujah. 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 Hallelujah, hallelujah. You say I took the name in vain. I don't even know the name, but if I did, well, really, What's it to you? There's a blaze of light in every word. It doesn't matter what you heard, the holy or the broken. Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah.
Okay, I'll leave right now.
I did my best, it wasn't much. I couldn't find, so I tried to touch. I told the truth and I didn't come to fool you. And even though it all went wrong, I stand before the Lord of song with nothing on my tongue but hallelujah, hallelujah.